All right, and we're back. This is episode 39, 38, 39. Whatever. I'm going to leave it in. But yeah, this episode is going to be with, I had Daniel Drennon from Beer Paper LA on the show. We had a really good time. I apologize for a little bit of the noise in the background when we were there, because of course, when you were recording we were at Brew Kitchen Ale House in Los Alamitos. Got to meet the owner, Joe Maggiore. Super cool guy. He told me his whole story as well. So that'll be towards the end of it. I kind of recorded him in reverse, so apologies about that. That's why you might hear it might sound a little like what's Mike talking about initially, but I turned it around. But here on the intro, I do have a special guest with me. It's Josh from Noble. What's up, brother?
Doing good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm doing good. Just got a bunch of fresh beers in front of us that we gotta crack open because we were doing the segment again. What's new at Noble? So tell us what's new at Noble.
This past week we just canned total 5 beers. We have a fresh batch of Naughty Sauce, so that's always a classic.
Oh yeah.
And then the Watch Me Whip, which we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yep.
We finally canned, so that is out now. So if you want to pick up a 4-pack, they're available in the tasting room. And then we brought back a classic, Yoga Pants. So it's one they did a few years ago. Been gone for the last year. We brought it back out.
Awesome.
Some new spices in there, and that's a pumpkin spice. Pretty much Naughty Sauce at the base.
Yeah.
And we add pumpkin spices to it. And then the fun ones that we have right now, we want to do like a heavy porter. So we did a Baltic porter this time, which is a hairy porter and the Deathly Hangover, coming in at 10.5. And honestly, once you taste it, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's super smooth. The body's not heavy on it, and it does not drink like a heavy, like for the ABV.
For sure.
You're not getting diesel. You're not, it's not popping a ton of alcohol flavor. It's just, you get really good notes of the malt we used and also the candy syrup. So, I mean, it's really good. And then we finally did a half. We've been getting requested for one, and that's what this baby is right here. So Jimmy put together, it's a traditional Bavarian style Hefeweizen.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we use wheat and Pilsner malt. And it's super light. You're definitely going to get notes of clove and banana in it.
Okay.
We had a couple customers there asking us for that. And so Jimmy made it happen. And
nice.
So that's what we have here. So what do you want to try first?
Let's try the Hef. Let's do that since
Okay.
we were just talking about it.
All right. So this one, the Hef, it's Children of the Wheat. So if anyone knows me, I am a Stephen King fan for books.
Awesome.
And, if you see the label, being like Children of the Corn, the label is, it's kind of based inspired off of that book cover, the original book cover from 1984, I think it is.
Nice.
So
yeah, as soon as I saw the counter work, I was like, oh, dang, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And also we have Chris Taylor sitting with us.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. What's up, fellas?
Just sitting in, having some booze.
Yeah.
Well, cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you. And thanks again for being on, brother.
And thanks for having me here. Like I said, I always enjoy doing this with you guys and get to talk beer and have fun. So
definitely big banana on there.
Yeah. And the body's pretty light on it.
Super light.
So it's, like I said, it's crushable. 5% is an easy drinking beer. So for the fall time, it's still a little warm. At least here in SoCal, it's still warm during daytime, as we were already sweating outside earlier.
Yep.
So, but like I said, this one you can, it's very crushable. And like I said,
for sure.
If you like banana, you definitely get the banana notes. You get the clove in there. It's a good combination for a Hef. Like it's different compared to a few of the other ones around here that are out right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully this can separate us, and people have been trying it. They've been picking up 4-packs the last few days because we just canned this. What's today? Saturday. We just canned on Wednesday.
Okay.
So I mean, this is really fresh.
Oh man, it's freaking just really good.
Yeah, if you guys like this, want to check it out, we have it on tap right now in the tasting room, and we have 4-packs available, ready to go.
Awesome.
So I would probably say the next one, let's do Yoga Pants.
Okay.
Put that one out. So again, guys, Yoga Pants, it is a golden milk stout with pumpkin spices.
And I love the Naughty Sauce because that's like one of my favorite golden milk stouts that you guys have. It's so good.
Yeah, that's our key one. And this batch, actually, we did Jimmy and Cam and Paul. They did a little different technique with the coffee and the beer this time.
Okay.
So I can grab a can. You want to try it?
Oh,
definitely,
for sure.
The coffee popped a lot more this time. So anyone that loves their coffee and their beer,
yep,
they're gonna love the new version of Naughty that we just put out.
Awesome. Let's do it. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, guys.
Clanging and banging. Damn. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you get what I told you. Like I said, you get the spices in there big time on it, which it goes
for
really well with the coffee. I said you don't get ton note of pumpkin or anything in it, but if you like pumpkin spices, getting your PSL.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
There.
So. And Thanksgiving is around the corner.
Yeah.
So.
They definitely get a lot of that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like I said, I definitely want to get some pumpkin pie, try it, pair it out, and see
Oh,
how
I
it would
bet.
go together.
Yeah, I bet that'd be phenomenal. And is this on tap as well?
This is on tap. We'll be on tap this week.
Okay.
We got to get a tap opened up this week because we got a bunch of beers out. So, but we will have it on tap, but at least for the moment, we do have 4-packs available. And same time, also, if you want to get a single can coming to drink, we'll pop one open, put it in a pint glass for you, and give it a try. And like I said, it's fresh, so you're not sitting on old beer or anything else.
Oh, for sure.
It's clean. Like I said, it's easy drinking. It's smooth. And I said, for fall time, it's a perfect beer. And like for all our girls out there that like to wear yoga pants, you're gonna love the label. At least I know the guys will. I think at least.
Yeah. Who doesn't? So, I mean, that's just a can. That's a can you want to grab if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it was fun. So actually, we were trying to figure out what to do with this. Our designer Mike. And I'm like going back and forth. And at first I was like, okay, if we're going to do like PSL kind of thing, well, maybe we make it like a Starbucks cup or something.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, no, hold on. He's like, give me 15 minutes. I got an idea. And I'm like, okay. And then, he sent to me, I'm like, okay, we can work with this. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Like I said, it's a fun one to have a good time with. And it stands out. Like, I told you, we do testing to see how cans look on the racks.
Oh, for sure.
The brands, and it pops. And that's what we're doing here. And if you guys want to see it before you come in, you can check it out. We'll have a new video up tomorrow, just kind of showing the candy run, the beer, and everything up on Instagram, so you can check it out.
So there's definitely some great can artwork on there, if you know what I mean.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Voluptuous can artwork.
Yeah. If anyone's curious about the spices we have in this, we did cinnamon, ginger, clove, allspice, and nutmeg.
Okay.
So that's what's included with this. And like I said, a regular naughty sauce is the base. Unfortunately, being naughty sauce does have lactose in it.
Yeah.
Just heads up on that one if you can't have lactose.
Gotcha.
A little heads up on that one.
Yeah, for sure. I did want to ask you before we do the Harry Porter.
Yeah.
How you feeling about your ducks so far? Just to gauge everything, I
had a few people get upset at me yesterday.
Yeah. What happened?
Okay, so this is the way I like have the ducks. They're fun to watch right now. They're doing great.
Mm-hmm.
And was it 2 years ago? Right, Ziggers 2 years ago.
Yeah,
like we went on that rampage in October, November. Like they looked good, things were going well.
Yep.
But it's also because they're young, they're new, they're clicking again. They're fun to watch, but all the veterans are going to be watching tape like they do every week.
Yep.
And again, yes, at least right now we have size on the back end for the team to protect them. But again, doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You don't have to smash them in the boards. You just learn their play, you follow, and they're going to watch tape. So I mean. My personal opinion is come January, there's going to be enough tape. They're going to see how the kids are playing. I think they're going to get shut down. Hopefully I'm wrong. That's just my personal opinion watching Ducks forever. My personal opinion playing hockey, watching hockey. Like they're going to get figured out. Yeah. And it's going to slow down. I'll take whatever wins we get right now.
Oh, for sure.
It's awesome. Like I said, they're fun to watch right now. And it's been amazing to see what they're doing. Like it's great. And like it gives you hope for the future. Yeah. But again, I don't think it's going to last. Yeah. And I had someone yesterday get kind of upset. He's like, don't tell me that. Like, okay. I'm like, dude, I love the Ducks. Like, I love them. But I'm going to be realistic. Of course. I'm like, I told you, I'm a Cowboys fan. I get made fun of. Yeah. But I'm not unrealistic. Like, every year we go to Super Bowl, I know the well. Until Jerry Jones gone, our team sucks. Yeah. And Dak's gone. I'm realistic about my teams. And like I said, they're great to watch. They're fun. And I think tomorrow night is going to be, I really want to see how they do against the Golden Knights. Oh, yeah. I think the Avs play them tonight. The Avs are? Okay. Yeah. So, you guys are looking pretty good. Yeah, I started off 6-0. Then it was a little shaky. But, we have no backup goalie. Like, what's his name? Alexander Georgiev was like, played the first 7 straight games. It's like, who does that? It's like, you need a backup goalie because Pavel Francouz was out for the entire year. But they've looked good so far. But going back to what you're saying about the Ducks, they're young, they're fast, they're fun to watch. But that's what the Avs were like. 5 years ago? They kind of but you saw that slow build. We saw that's what I told you before. Like the Avs did it the right way. They took roughly about 5 years. Mm-hmm. They did the rebuild. They built it up. They built the culture. They built the team. Yep, looked awesome. As I said before, I feel like the Ducks, they're taking the right direction. They're, I feel we're like in the year 2-3 spot.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's going to be a couple more years. And I think in 2 or 3 years, we'll be a real contender. Not saying they can't make playoffs this year, but honestly, I'd rather them not. I'd rather get another high pick. I'm not saying, sandbag the season, but, I'm fine with them not making playoffs when we get a higher pick.
Oh, for sure.
And then build off next year and let's go in the year roughly 3 or 4 where the Avs did. And the next 2 years, we have a team that can run, and they're going to be dangerous. I mean,
for sure.
The organization has been pretty good at, when they first started, Ducks sucked, but they built it. It grew. You had the Korea Solana years.
Yep.
We, 03, we made the Stanley Cup finals. They grew. A couple years went by. They spent the money. I mean, we did have Pronger and we had Niedermeyer.
Yeah.
But, they built the team and we went. And then, we went, 10 years? I think it was a 10-year streak for playoffs.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. That's why I laugh some people are like, oh, we suck. I'm like, look, every team sucks eventually. You're never going to have, you can never, there's no, even the Yankees will be dominant and then they suck and they'll be dominant and they'll suck. And I'm all, you're talking about a team in SoCal, which again, hockey's building here, but we're not a major market. We're not an original 6 team.
For sure.
It's we do pretty well for our, even Kings. LA has a better market than we do. Hate the Kings, but they have a better market than we do, but our record for playoffs are a lot better.
Yeah.
And they keep going. So like I said, I'm excited. I'm happy. And I think it's going to be a fun season to watch them. But again, I don't think this lasts just because I think it's going to be, tape's going to be on, guys going to be watching. And I think January will be a true test to kind of see how the teams play against them. If I'm wrong, cool. I will eat my shorts. I don't care. I will, I'll take it back. It's just I don't ever get excited because we've had so many years too. They'll make, end of October, November will look amazing. And then it's we're right down. So again, excited, happy. Yes. Do I think it lasts? No, I don't. Not this year. I think next year will be different, but I think this year will be, I think they'll be steady, but they're not going to, I don't think it'll be a playoff team. I really don't.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's the thing. You just got to keep building towards that. Like you said, just being able to, being in, next year being in year 3 or 4 of that rebuild. And just, making your way there. And as long as you have some vets in there, and then obviously you have the young kids. I mean, I feel like that's all the best teams always have a combination of youth and, and veterans on the team.
Yeah. And the guys they got in there, they have a good combination. There's leadership in there. I cannot remember the coach's name right now. I was afraid to name the Boston dude. I cannot think of his name right
Cassidy?
now. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he got kicked out for being so passionate. I had to laugh about that. But like I said, I think coaching was a huge thing that I think I'm glad they made a change, and he seems to be, no bullshit on them, which I think they need it, especially with the youth one. You can't, younger generation, unfortunately, I kind of feel, they're not, they're very oh, I'll do whatever I want. And you need someone that can yell at them. And he seems like a coach that yells and not aggressively, but he's on them to push them and develop them and not just oh, cool, you're a star, do whatever you want. Because, it's not going to go anywhere that way. Yeah. At least not with younger ones. Older ones, good luck. Old dog, new tricks. It's a little hard.
Yeah.
But, it's the team. Like I said, I like where we're at. It's going to be a fun season. I've enjoyed watching this season. And, yes, winning the last, the road trip to go 4-0 on a road trip against those teams. It was fun to watch.
Oh,
I was happy. And, especially the Penguins, I didn't know how that game was going to go.
Oh, for sure.
But, they look good. And like I said, I hope it stays. But I think once there's more tape out on them and teams are studying, January will be a test. And like I said, I hope to God I'm wrong.
Hey, you're cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
That's all.
So
I feel you.
Are you going to any games anytime soon?
Oh, I want to go. If you're still down to go to that, I think it's December 2nd. It's a Saturday.
Yeah, the Colorado game.
Yeah,
that one I'm game to go to. So
awesome.
We'll go
I'll check to see what tickets are like, but yeah, I'm definitely down to go to the game.
I'm gonna go talk shit.
There we go. I'll throw it. My buddy went to the Kings Avs game with opening night or whatever it was. Oh, and what did he say? I said, I guess everybody just gives McKinnon shit on the ice. They're how long was that shift, McKinnon? It's come on.
He does get a lot of playing time, but the guy's a stud. Let's be real.
Yeah,
he's built. He has stamina. He's an awesome. He's fun. He's a fun guy to watch play.
Oh, for sure.
So, like I said, Colorado's a fun team to watch. That's why I've been excited. I saw what Colorado did.
Yeah,
and like I said, when you guys had Cogs and Manson's kind of okay. That's why when you guys won the cup too, I was like, okay, I'm cool with that because I really felt Cogs fully deserved a cup.
Oh, for sure.
So
love Cogliano.
He's a hard worker. I mean, he's awesome on the ice. He's a leader.
Yeah.
And you guys, at least he won the cup. I'm happy he did that, even though it wasn't with the Ducks.
Yeah.
Cheers to you. You guys got one.
Cheers.
So.
For sure. And I'm kind of excited. I'm excited about this team, but I honestly wish that what's his name was back. Or was going to be back this year. Landeskog. I was like, why can't I remember Landy's name? But yeah. I was hoping he was going to come back, but that's not going to happen. So, I mean, it is what it is. I feel like the injuries, like the bug, the last 2 years. This year and then last year.
Last year, you guys, that was the big problem for you guys was all the injuries.
Yeah.
But that's why I think it felt, because I told you the one game we watched, and I was saying, like, this season, you guys look healthier. Again, not everyone's 100%, but at least it'll keep you underneath the radar.
Oh, for sure.
Which is good for you guys. I mean, because you just got to stay healthy, or you got to get everyone healthy, stay in playoff contention, because as we all know, regular season means nothing. That's to get in the playoffs. It doesn't make a difference if you're a seed team or a number 1 seed team. And most time, if you're the President's Trophy team winner,
you're going to lose.
You lose. So that don't mean anything. So, I mean, flying on the radar is a good position. I mean, especially for you guys. I mean, you have most of the team you guys won the cup with. Yeah. And like I said, Landy's hurt, but the rest of the team is still pretty healthy, and you guys have good players. So hopefully, get into the season, get in the playoffs, and you guys make a run. Yeah,
I hope so. I mean, I really think that they do need to get a second, because they do have a backup goalie, but it was just some dude that I'd never heard of. I was like, where did they get this? Where did they pull this guy from?
I'm sure they'll find somebody. I mean, the upside is like, trade deadline. Hopefully they'll pick, especially if they make a run, they'll make some moves, which I'm sure they will.
And I feel like Sakic has always been like, ever since he took over as like the GM, he's made moves each year. Sometimes it's small moves, but even those small moves like pay off, like getting guys like Cogs or getting
He knows his hockey, dude. Sakic is, he knows his hockey. He knows how to run the team. He cares about that team because, I mean, his history with them. So, I mean, he gets it. So, I mean, I think that makes a huge difference for a player like him. Because, you get some player coaches like, Patrick Waugh, like he coached. It wasn't all that great. Yeah. Like Gretzky coached. Gretzky's all-time great. And he couldn't coach. I mean, fortunately, he couldn't coach a team. So, I mean, you've been lucky though with your GM. Like you guys have a good, good position there, and hopefully, like I said, I'd be fine. You guys win the cup this year.
Nothing more than that. but I'm also too like if it happens, great. If it doesn't, at least they have the core together for a while, so they have time to make a run. Yep. Should we crack open that porter?
Crack open, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So this one again, like I said, it's a Baltic porter. This is Harry Porter and the Deathly Hangover.
There you go. What's the percentage on that one?
This one is 10.5.
Here we go.
So this one's a big boy.
And I ain't walking out of here. I'm just kidding.
Don't worry, you'll be able to walk.
Oh yeah.
Funny, but you'll be able to walk.
All right. Oh yeah.
There you go. So the coloring on it, like I said, it's nice and dark. The head retention on it, I don't know if you saw that. Like,
cheers. Oh yeah.
Has great head retention. The coloring's perfect on it. Perfect on it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, I'm not a big porter guy, but this one we were trying to figure out some stuff to do, and I looking around time frame, and I asked Jimmy like, can we make one? Can we make one? Because I kind of feel like we haven't. We have Man's Milk, which is the Patriot Milk Stout. Yeah. But I'm like, we need a porter. But I'm like, I want, it's winter. It's not wintertime yet, but it's starting to chill at nighttime or fall. We're gonna go in the winter. Yep. Like we need something heavy, and we haven't done a big porter. I mean, we haven't really done a big stout. But I was like, let's start off with a porter. Let's get that out there. And I'm like, can we do a Baltic porter? Because I was, trying to do some research. I'm like, what can we do? And he's like, yeah. So they put this together, and like I said, it's. I said I normally don't drink them. I'll only drink one can if I have it for the day because you're gonna feel pretty good. Oh yeah. But like I said, it's been it's enjoyable. Like I said, and the label was fun. Like I said, for sure. I was trying to figure out what to do, and again, this is one of the ones like our artist Mike. We have a great time talking. We'll go back and forth. And I was like, dude, we got to do something here. Originally, I was like, I was like, can we get one with Dumbledore like behind the bar and him like passed out on the bar kind of thing.
That'd be fucking awesome.
And we were going back and forth like, what can we do? And then he's like, again, one thing he's all give me a couple of days. He's all, let me think of something. And he said, I'm like, dude, that's like, this can's perfect. I'm all fat Harry Potter. Oh, that's awesome. Looking all drunk. I'm like, this is like the way to go. And I showed a few people, everyone started laughing. So I'm like, okay, this is perfect. Oh yeah. To get out there. And like I said, I'm happy with it. And like I showed you like today, we just posted that video today telling people about it. Because we did can it, but like I try to slow roll everything. That
Of
way
course.
people get excited. I want to put like, if I dump everything on one day, it's like, it gets lost. So we put this one on a day and like, so the reaction online's been awesome. And I feel today's going to be a good day in the tap room. So,
for sure. And that's one of the best parts too, because you're not only getting like, the like your regulars or like, and other people coming in and trying it out, but then when they see like, especially like the Harry Potter fans, which is obviously, millions.
Yep.
And they see that, especially because you guys ship in California and stuff like that too. They can, I'm sure like online orders will go through the roof too.
Yeah, we're gonna have it. So let everyone know it'll be. So when this podcast going up today tomorrow. So so by tomorrow everything will be online. You can order. We'll ship anywhere in California, of course. So it will be out there. And we've had a few people hit me up today. I feel bad. One of our friends is pregnant. She's a huge Harry Potter fan.
Oh yeah.
So why'd you have to do this now? I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, had to. I'm all, I can save it. I'm all, you got 4 months. I'm like, it'll still be good. I'm all, it's a heavy porter. And I'm all, it's not gonna, this will last.
Yeah. So
I'm all, I'll save you some. You can try it then. I'm all, worst case, I'll give you some labels. You can have a label for your beer fridge. So
there you go. Perfect. Well, man, I always appreciate, you being on and, being able to do this and to talk about Knowable, on, in the intros or whether you guys are just on an episode. But I did want to ask you before we finish up, do you guys have any like events coming up or any like, comedy nights or anything coming up?
So comedy night, next one will be November 17th.
Okay.
So it's an open mic night with the OC stand-up comedy. Those guys have been awesome. Daniel and Diego, they've been bringing people in. I mean, last night we had the whole place packed.
Awesome.
And again, it's free to do. You can sign up 5 minutes, and if you buy a beer, you get an extra like 2 minutes.
Okay.
So we'll have that on the 17th. We have disc golf. So anyone likes disc golf, so it's not raining. The next night, let me look at my calendar here real quick, because let's see, we just did one on the 1st. So the 15th, November 15th, Wednesday night. It's $10. Pint gets included, and it's just a putting, it's a putting like tournament.
Yeah.
They have a cash prize, and like I said, you get a pint included for $10. It's a good group.
Can't beat that. Yeah.
No, it's fun. Like I said, if you like disc golf, it's easy. We do it in the parking lot, and like I said, that group, Plastic Disc Golf, they, Eric from there, they've been amazing.
Awesome.
Bring people in here, and I don't play, but Jimmy plays. He loves it, and we've made new friends, we made new customers. It's a good time. And then I don't know for sure, but keep posted. So anyone knows about the flash tattoo party we did on October 13th.
Yeah.
Lauren, we were talking to helped us did the artwork and was the artist that day. We're looking on Black Friday.
Oh, nice.
So we will be open room for the Ducks game. But the plan is open up early, pregame. I'm going Ducks game because they're playing the Kings, which they never do on Black Friday. So I'm like, I'm excited. And then the plan is afterwards come back. We're going to have a tattoo party and have a good time with that. And hopefully it will go, it's going to go over well like it did last time. So once that tattoo, I think we'll have a flash sheet, but I think she might also, I'll know more this week, so I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
She might just take, people's artwork they want to do. She might just open it up and like, we'll have time slots. You can come in and if you know what you want,
awesome.
She can do it. And like I said, she's a great artist and she was a huge help. Like I said, Friday the 13th was amazing. We were open until 2:30 at night.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. We stayed open way late just because she wanted to get through people. She could, and she was doing it. So she was awesome.
Well, I'll be here.
I'm trying to think what the date is. It's not till December, but the OCCR, the Orange County Craft Runners.
Yeah.
They're doing their half marathon.
Okay.
And let me find the thing here real quick. I apologize.
Oh, all good.
I want to say it's December 9th, but we're going to be their start and stop and ending location.
Awesome.
So, I mean, that's free to do. They have signups because they do have medals for people to do it. I apologize. Let me try to find. I want to confirm the date on there, but I want to say it's here. It goes. It is. Yeah, so it'll be December 9th. So they're going to start at our location at 10:30 in the morning, and then from there they go to Windsor, they go to Green Cheek, they go to Chapman, they go to everywhere, and then they come back to us.
Awesome.
And then that night we're going to party. I'm trying to get a band here.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So like I said, it's going to be a good night, and like they wear at least sweaters, and like I said, it's going to be a cool event, and we might have a special can release that day with them. Stay tuned. We'll post up on there, but yeah, we got a few things in the works. And the other thing I'll tell you about is I told you about the tiki seltzers that we've been doing. So next one coming out will be November 22nd.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what it is yet.
Awesome.
But if anyone's had our Watch Me Whip, which like I said is canned now, you're going to love the next one. It's a 10%er.
Oh, here we go.
We did an R&D batch, and the R&D batch was we had it at the OC Brewers Bash. So Vima was at the OC Brewers Mash down at Santa Ana the weekend before. You had it. Stay tuned. We'll have it out there. We'll be posting more up on that.
Awesome, brother.
So
looking forward to it. So we got a ton of episode that December 2nd. That's going to be the ugly sweater Christmas sweater?
December 9th.
December 9th.
December
okay.
9th. Yeah.
Okay, ugly Christmas sweater.
Ugly Christmas sweater half marathon. We'll post up on our stories with OCCR for their signups.
Sounds
good. Like I
good.
said, they do get medals and bibs. They do things, and it's a fun run. Like if you run, it's a great event. I don't.
I wouldn't.
My knees don't handle it, but Paul does.
Yeah.
So he'll be doing it. And the funny part is actually some of them they get pretty sloshed. And
awesome.
They're always fun to hang out with afterwards.
Sweet. Well, man, like I said, thanks again for being on. It's always fun hanging out with you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Have me on. Like I said, anytime we can do this, like I said, I will never say no.
For sure.
To do this with you guys.
Yeah, and we'll have to do something again soon, and get a little shitty.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. Thanks again, man. Stay tuned for the interview with Daniel Drennon from Beer Paper LA, also featuring Joe Maggiore, the owner of Brew Kitchen Ale House in Los Alamitos. All great dudes. We had a great time. So hope you enjoy that. Stay tuned for the outro. All right, guys. So with the special guest of the evening, I have Daniel Drennon from Beer Paper LA. This is exciting for me because anytime I'm in a brewery, I always like to check out your paper.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. How you doing? You're drinking you said the STS pills?
Yep.
All right. How's that from Russian River?
Yep. Can't go wrong with the Russian River.
Awesome.
Kind of a benchmark for the state.
Yeah. And I do want to hear your story about how you started Beer Paper. But before we do that, I know you had a big day today.
I did have a big day.
Yeah. Could you tell us about that?
I guess the perks of being Beer Paper is my friend Ian McCall, who started at Beechwood, then went to RIP, elevated RIP to world-class status, and now he's left RIP to start Ism Brewing.
Okay.
So Ism Brewing is going to be coming to downtown Long Beach at the Beechwood Long Beach location. Like it's going to become Ism. So late morning, I get a text from Ian. Do you want to have lunch? Talk about it? Sure. So these are the perks if you're a beer fan.
Oh, yeah.
I get to have lunch with Ian McCall, a world-class brewer. We went to Lido Bottle Works, give them a shout out in Balboa Island, Newport.
Awesome.
Then from there, we decided, we'll go to Windsor Homebrew Supply Store, which, by the way, if you don't know that they have a world-class tap list.
Oh, they have an awesome tap list, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like it is, when I say world-class, like they have beers from all over the world that we can't even get here normally. So we went there. Then we went across the street to Green Cheek. Evan Price, another world-class brewer, comes out. So as an apology to my host,
it's okay.
I was like texting him going like, dude, I'm sitting with two of the best brewers on planet Earth just shooting the shit.
That's it.
That's an average day for Beer Paper.
You never have to apologize for that.
Yeah. So I was a little late to the podcast today, but for good reason.
Yeah, no worries.
And the cool news is the January issue of Beer Paper will be Evan Price interviewing Ian McCall.
That's awesome.
About his new brewery. So, yeah, it's rarefied air. We're very spoiled. We're very lucky.
I can't wait to read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can only imagine what that was like, you sitting there with them, and I'm sure just crushing some beers and.
Well, I'm just a fly on the wall at that point.
Yeah.
Like, one thing I say about like Beer Paper does a lot of Instagram. Follow us on Instagram, Beer Paper LA. A lot of times it's me drinking with world-class brewers, but when there's multiple world-class brewers like today, I don't belong in that photo. Yeah. Like I'm just a groupie of those two guys. I love those two guys. They brew the best beer in the world. So I was just so happy to sit there and listen to them talk about the art of brewing.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's being a fly on the wall, like in that, for that conversation, I couldn't imagine. Like, it just sounds like it's like, like you're listening to two Hall of Famers that talking about that.
It was very holy grail kind of moment.
That's fucking awesome.
Like, wow, I'm sitting with Evan Price and Ian McCall, and they're talking about brewing and what they do and how they do it. And I'm just happy to be sitting here.
Yeah. And I wanted to, tell you, like, the Trevor Walls one was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I've never met Trevor. I've been trying to. I'm gonna get him on the show.
Yeah,
because my brother works for Brewery X.
Okay.
So, but he does like some of the can artwork and stuff like that.
Right.
But looking forward to talking to him because he's world class too.
He's another. Yep. I mean, we're very lucky. Like I said, one of my big sayings is California brewing's the best in the world.
Yeah.
There's not a close second, not Colorado, not Oregon.
Yeah.
If you exclude Belgian style beers, not even country of Belgium.
Yeah.
Like that's how good brewing is in California.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're very spoiled. If you're a beer fan, you need to realize we have it as good as it gets in California.
Definitely. I mean, there's so many great places out there. I mean, and there's still more to find too.
Yeah.
There's there's so many different breweries out here, and that's why I'm always trying to look for new places. Like, even like Healy, or like you're wearing a Virgin shirt. Like, I love Virgin. Like, they're all freaking awesome down there. And it feels like every time they put out a new beer, it just freaking smacks. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, I know I preface some of your questions you were going to ask me. Like, for San Diego, my two favorites are North Park and Bergen.
Okay.
Bergen.
Yeah, North Park is you can't go wrong.
North Park and Bergen, fabulous. So,
yeah.
Those are my two favorites in San Diego.
That's awesome. I mean, in North Park, you can't go wrong with Bergen. Even like Pure, like what Pure is doing down there, they're doing a phenomenal job.
Pure is very good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got some great stuff. But I would love to hear your story about how you start your craft beer journey, but and then starting Beer Paper, like what that took to get to that point.
Yeah. So, my story is, number one, I didn't start Beer Paper. Yeah. I inherited Beer Paper from two friends. But my day job was I worked for the mayor of Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
And I went to a weekend party with LA Times and LA Weekly editors, owners, and I brought a bunch of craft beer.
Okay.
And this was about 2008. And they literally did not know what was happening with California craft beer.
Yeah.
So I was very enthusiastic, and it ended up with me being the first ever LA Weekly craft beer writer.
Wow.
Because they didn't know what was happening with California craft beer. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is the biggest thing happening.
Yeah.
So I did that for a couple of years, and then two buddies of mine started Beer Paper.
Okay.
We were all Beechwood regulars in Long Beach, and they said, hey, we're going to start a beer newspaper. Do you want to be the head writer? I was like, hell yes, I do.
That's freaking cool.
So I did that for, I think, the first 2 years of Beer Paper, because Beer Paper is now 10 years old.
Yeah.
And then after 2 years, they both had different job opportunities. So they pretty much handed off their baby to me.
Yeah.
Which I was glad to inherit.
Yeah. Put it in good hands.
So I've had it for 8 years. And I mean, I guess the biggest philosophical change I had with the paper when I took it over is it's Beer Paper. So
yeah, I
wanted it to be every month of Beer Paper. There's a world-class brewer on the cover, kind of like Rolling Stone with the musician.
Of course.
So like if you're a brewer and you're on the cover of Beer Paper,
yeah, you're a freaking rock star.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
That's awesome.
So that was what I did, and it's been great. So it's just been a great ride.
Yeah.
If you love beer, nothing better.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one thing like I love about like the craft beer scene, and like going back to what you initially said, how like in 2008, like there were a few out there, but it wasn't what it is now.
Mm-mm.
Now it's like like when we talked to Joe like about how now there's there's a craft brewery around every corner. It feels like. And that's that's a good thing because, there's so many different places and you can be able to find, new brewers and to find new beers that you may like. But back then it was like, I felt like it was stoned for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was, do you remember your first kind of craft beer that you had?
I think I attribute my first craft beer because I was in Colorado to Odell's 90 Shilling.
Okay.
That was the first beer that I had was like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah.
Locally crafted beer?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not like, like going to like your typical grocery store and finding, all the big name stuff and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, but I mean, it's cool to be able to hear that and be able to see what it took for you to get to where you are. I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to toot your horn or anything like that, but King of the Mountain, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's a very, like I said, I'm living a very spoiled world that we get to go to World Beer Cup, Great American Beer Festival, Firestone Walker Invitational, hang out with the best brewers on the planet.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
Pretty good job.
Yeah.
Pretty good job to have.
Oh, for sure. And like, so was it like when you first started doing that for like LA Weekly, you said, was that like coming out? How often did that come out? Because I mean, I remember seeing that paper as a kid, but
yeah, I think it was weekly.
Yeah.
So every week I would write about a cool, like back then, unbelievably, LA had 3 breweries.
Yeah.
3.
Wow.
When I started writing for LA Weekly. Now we have probably, I don't know, 85 in LA and 65 in Orange County.
Yeah.
But we had 3. So mostly I was writing about beer bars like Blue Palms and Surly Goat and 38 Degrees, Beechwood.
Yeah. Beechwood, they make my uncle's favorite hazy is the Beechwood hazy.
Yeah.
The red and white can. I can never remember which was it, 28 haze later or something
28 haze later.
Yeah. Yep. Do you still ever get down to Beechwood?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Beechwood is... so we were actually, my 2 friends I told you that formed Beechwood, we were all Beechwood regulars. So Beer Paper was formed at Beechwood, Long Beach.
That's awesome.
Which is now going to become Ism Brewing.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I think Ism started following me earlier today. Started following the podcast earlier today. So I was like, that's pretty awesome. So I appreciate that.
Well,
I'm sure you probably mentioned it.
Yeah, I told him.
I was like, that's pretty cool.
Because I told him, you should actually surprise him and come talk about Ism Brewing.
Oh, yeah. That would be sweet.
So I know one of your questions was what new breweries or whatever you're looking forward to.
Of course.
There's no brewery that anybody's looking forward to more than Ism Brewing.
I can imagine.
Because that is Ian McCall. He started at Beechwood. He brewed at Beechwood for 8 years. Then he went to Rip. Yeah. Took Rip to Tier 1, world-class brewery. And now he's doing his own thing back where he started at Beechwood. Awesome. So, I'm just on the edge of my seat for Ism.
Oh, yeah. And I love Rip, too. Like, Rip's got some good stuff. They have really good beer, but they also have really good pizza, too. Obviously.
Yeah.
They got some great stuff.
No, for sure. They put a lot. I'm really good friends with Rip. I can tell you they put a lot of work into that pizza.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're listening to this podcast and you're looking for what I look for, which is destination beer joints, also with good food, Rip Pizza in Huntington Beach.
Oh, it's killer.
I don't care if you live in Burbank. Drive all the way to Huntington Beach, have Rip Pizza and beer. No doubt. You're not going to be disappointed.
Yeah, my brother had their wedding rehearsal dinner at Rip.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm jealous.
I'm
jealous of that.
It was freaking awesome. I mean, we got to, crush a bunch of great freaking beer. have a bunch of good pizza. Their deep dish was so light and fluffy. I mean, obviously, and I love like that New York style kind of pizza. But yeah, their deep dish was
they
out of this world.
So they do Detroit, which is what you're calling the deep dish.
Yeah.
It's like a square pan. It's not quite Chicago deep dish, but it's somewhere in between. And that's phenomenal. And then if you want the thin style, you can do New York.
Yeah.
But it's great pizza.
Oh yeah.
And great
phenomenal stuff. I was curious too, because I mean I know how much you love craft beer. Did you ever try home brewing or anything like that?
Yeah, so no, because I think home brewing is a lot of work. I've never home brewed, but I appreciate my home brewers. I admire my home brewers and their passion. But no, I'm a professional drinker.
I love it.
I like my beer delivered in the glass. I don't want to put in the work to brew it.
Totally get that. And that's, I mean, I kind of like, I've always wanted to learn how to brew. Like I went to Windsor, and you mentioned Windsor earlier. Me and my brother went there. We want to try, home brewing and stuff like that. Yeah. It can be like, this can be time consuming, but this is like my therapy. So it's like, this is like, my version of not paying for a therapist, essentially. But I mean, I still want to try that. I'm actually going to go up to a buddy of mine who lives up in Clovis. And I go, have you ever been up there with like Machine Head and any of those? I love Machine Head. They got great stuff. But we're gonna go up there and brew together. He lives like just down the street from Machine Head, so we're gonna work something out to finally have me brew something. Yeah.
I will say this, back to beer paper perks.
Yeah.
I'm constantly invited to go to Sierra Nevada and Chico for beer camp.
Yeah.
Where you come together with a bunch of other like beer world people and brew a beer.
Yeah.
That one I'm very interested in. I still haven't done it because it still seems like a little bit of work. But that's seems like an amazing, memorable opportunity.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
go to Sierra Nevada, brew a beer.
Well, of course, because I mean, they're one of the OGs here in California, And I think it was when I talked to Nick Pavlina, the co-founder and director of brewing over at Humble Sea on Monday, just the other day. And him and I were the first thing he said, like when he was, because he grew up in Chico. Yeah. And he said, like, it was like, the Sierra Nevada was his gateway drug into craft beer because he realized it wasn't, you didn't have to buy a 20 pack of Keystone Light or 30 pack of Keystone way back when. But
well, I mean, here's the importance, relevance of Sierra Nevada. I was thinking about this for the interview. I think I've probably interviewed over 100 brewers. I used to always ask, what was the beer or the brewery that you drank that inspired you to become a brewer? Literally 80% of the answers are Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Yeah. I drank Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. That's the first time I had a really hoppy beer and realized beer could be different and better. Yeah. It's Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. And quite a few of the other answers are Sierra Nevada Celebration Ale. Yeah. I mean, really, the only thing that even comes up on the radar is Anchor Steam or Anchor Liberty Ale. Yeah. Those were the beers that formed a whole generation of California brewers.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you talk about that kind of influence on people, and I remember drinking Anchor Steam as a kid, but I mean I was who didn't start drinking before they were 21, right?
You were 12.
Yeah,
just
probably.
Admit it.
Yeah. Well, I think I
had my first Anchor Steam at 12.
Yeah, I think I had my first few shots of tequila. I think I was 12 or 13. So I would get a little shitty sometimes. But when we would find stuff, I remember thinking as a kid, oh my gosh, Pyramid Hef is what is this? Or trying Anchor Steam or trying Sierra Nevada, because my dad would buy them at Trader Joe's because they were in Trader Joe's and he wanted to try something different. And I remember of course, who doesn't sneak a few of your dad's beers, right. And stuff like that. So that was kind of but Stone was my biggest intro because, my buddies would go there all the time, and we had a kegerator of regular Stone IPA, in there, and there was always a keg of Stone and a keg of Pabst.
Yeah.
in our one of our like party rooms.
Right.
But yeah, it was like Stone was for me. Like I remember the first time I had a double bastard, I was like, "Oh shit, like, what is this thing?" Because it was so strong, like, and it was so bitter. Like the IBUs, were through the roof. But then as you kind of find your gateway beer, like you said, like finding that one beer that inspires you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many great places out there, and that's always feel like there's always, if you go to a brewery, there's always a beer on the menu for everybody.
Right.
It's just about being willing to take that step and be willing to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. 100% agree. I also like the fact that feel like we've come full circle. This is one of the conversations we were having today with Ian and Evan. Hopefully we've gotten through all the pastry stouts and milkshake IPAs.
Yeah.
And we're kind of coming full circle back to Pilsners,
100%.
lagers, like old school, like almost brew pub beers where you'll have like a hoppy blonde, a brown ale, a red ale, a pale ale, IPA, but they'll be way better than they were 20, 30 years ago because now the brewers are badass world-class brewers.
Oh, for sure. And for a guy like Evan, like, you know what, before I get into that, I did want to mention, because you mentioned how we're coming back around when it comes to the Pilsners. Like when I talk to, like, honestly, a lot of times when I talk to people, like whether it was like Mike from Unsung or like, Adrian from Hermosa, when I talk to them, it's like, there was like, they never really went away, but hazies and all these other stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love a good hazy, but I felt like even like West Coast, I felt like Pilsners and West Coast kind of took the back seat a little bit for a while because of all those different, like, those milkshake IPAs and the smoothie sours and stuff like that. But now that they are coming back around, and one thing I love when talking to brewers is like, they're never satisfied.
Right.
And I love that because a perfectionist, like I always want to make this better. And I always want to make sure I have the people, like, getting somebody like you to be able to talk to. Like, I want to continue to grow this thing, but I also wanted to try to make it different too. I don't want it to be like your everyday thing. And I love that passion when I hear from brewers, or like I hear from you, or when we, if I'm talking to Joe, hearing that, like, like how much you care.
Yeah. No, I mean, another of my beer writer sayings is the modern American craft beer revolution has happened.
Yeah.
Because these craft brewers today are artists the same way that musicians, actors, painters, sculptors, and athletes are artists.
100%.
What you just said.
Yeah.
What I love most is when they win a gold medal for a beer and I see them and I congratulate them. Yeah. You know what they say to me? The next batch will be better.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with it. The next batch will be better.
Yeah.
Like whether it's Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Eric Clapton. Yeah. Do you think he goes out on stage every night and plays Layla for the 2 millionth time? And goes, it's going to be worse? Yeah. No, he goes, it's going to be better. Yeah. And that's what these brewers are doing is it's always next batch going to be better. Yep. And that's what we love about them.
Exactly. I mean, it's that one, like, they was like, oh, it's great. And I know, like, everybody's praising it or whatever, but he's like, I could tweak this one little thing. Yeah. I just want to change this one. But then they tweak that one little thing. And then the next batch, you know what? I want to try this one other little thing. Yeah. And that gets me so excited because when you go in there, you can maybe find those little subtle notes that are different the next time you try it.
Yeah. And 100%. That's what the whole revolution is about. Yeah. Is taking it to the highest level and then not even being satisfied with that. Yeah. We can get better.
Oh, yeah.
We're brewing the best beer ever brewed, but we can even take it higher.
Yeah.
That's what we're all excited about.
Exactly. And because I know, like, you live in Long Beach, but I know we talked about, like, Virgin, how you love Virgin down in San Diego. What about in the Orange County? Do you have, like, what are some of your favorites there? I love everywhere over there, like Brewery X and stuff like that.
So I would say, let me be careful here.
It's all good. Green Cheeks, obviously, I feel like one of them.
Well, the best breweries in Orange County, and do not hate on me if I forget your name, but from my house, it's easy. It's Beechwood, Green Cheek, Rip,
Yeah.
Radiant,
Radiant's
Everywhere, and Docent.
Okay.
I would say those are the best in Orange County. There's other great breweries,
Oh,
by
of
the way.
course, there's
There's
a ton of
many other great breweries, but those would be my top tier in Orange County.
Awesome. Do you get out to the LA area? I mean, I'm assuming
Oh,
you
yeah.
do because
Oh, yeah.
you know for the paper.
For sure.
Do you have some of your favorites out there?
LA is Highland Park, of course.
Yeah.
El Segundo.
El Segundo's great. I got to meet Stone Cold there one time. I was so excited.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I walked in. He was talking to Cody Jinks. It was freaking awesome.
I did get to meet Stone Cold.
Yeah,
We've actually had dinner together.
that's
Super
awesome,
cool.
man.
I mean, there's just like too many to name. Like the South Bay is just loaded.
Oh, yeah.
Like Smog City. Can't even think off the top of my head because there's so many. But
Yeah.
Firestone Walker Propagator, I always remind people is they brew beer at the Propagator.
Okay.
And it is not the same beer that's being brewed in Paso Robles by Firestone Walker, but it's extraordinarily good. So that's a hidden gem. Is go to the Propagator in Venice for Firestone Walker
Yeah.
because
kind
they
of,
brew beer there that will blow your mind.
that's awesome. And it's not a brewery, but we're kind of in a hidden gem right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Brew Kitchen, and so transitioning to beer bars, just find a beer bar that has a great list of beer, but also respects the beer by cleaning their own lines.
Yep.
Serving it at the right temperature, serving it in the right glassware, right?
Yeah.
Serve the beer properly.
Exactly. I mean that's what you got to do. I mean it's about that care and that wanting to do something like that to be able to, because people will not just respect that, but they'll also they're like damn, like they're going out of their way to make sure that everything is perfect when that beer's from beginning to end, from when you first tap the keg to the end to when you finish tapping that keg. I mean, and I love that, and being able to to talk to Joe a little bit, that was really cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have what's your favorite kind of style of beer? Is it like the Pilsners, West Coast, or
both? So for sure, Pilsner / lagers. For easy drinking, because I drink about 6 beers a day. Unhealthy, but got to do it.
Yeah, it's research, right?
Pilsners, lagers, and for sure I am Mr. West Coast IPA.
Okay.
I hate hazies.
Okay.
I have a dream of a beer paper cover that says "fuck hazies," but I know I would alienate quite a few of my readers who like hazies.
Gotcha.
So do what you need to do, but I'm old school West Coast IPA.
Yeah. I think because I still do like a good hazy, but I prefer I really go for now. Yeah, the lagers, the Pilsners, even like rice lagers, anything, Czech Pilsners, any of that good stuff. But a good West Coast too. Yeah. I mean, if you do it the right way, it's all freaking good, man.
But you can drink more beer.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the world of drinking beer.
Yeah.
So if I drink a hazy, I might like a hazy, say at Monkish.
Yeah.
But then do I want a second hazy? I say the answer is no.
Yeah.
Now I feel full that I had a hazy.
Yeah.
Whereas if I drink, I could probably drink, if I came to a beer bar in a perfect world, I could start with a Pilsner. Yeah. I could drink a pale ale. I could drink a West Coast IPA. I could drink 3 or 4 beers at a visit. Mm-hmm. I cannot do that with hazy.
Oh, yeah.
You can't drink 4 hazies.
Oh, yeah. And that's sometimes what I'll do is I'll get a flight and then I'll also get a Pilsner on the side as well. Cause I can taste some of their other stuff. But then I can also do that.
Palate cleanser.
Oh, exactly.
Palate cleanser. You got to have a good palate. cleanser.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and when it comes to just like all the, like I said, all the different the breweries out here. I mean, if you can, I mean, we mentioned it earlier, so I don't want to sound like a broken record, but if they make a Pilsner well, do you know probably the rest of their beer is probably going to be pretty good.
Right. Well, that's how so when I travel for beer, like you're saying, I'm going to judge a brewery on two things.
Yeah.
The Pilsner and the West Coast IPA.
Oh yeah.
If they nail those two, I already know I love everything else.
Yeah. And you know what? It's crazy too, because I mean, like we were talking about California a little bit, how like it grew up, like when it came to like the craft beer scene. But like I know like Pliny, Pliny was like the standard, and with Russian River and all that stuff. But I feel like now there's just so many other great beers out there. And don't get me wrong, I still love all the Plinies.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's just there's so many good ones out there. It's hard to choose. It's hard to choose like a favorite of anything. Like, so I know it's a loaded question when I ask you like some of your favorite breweries, but because there's so many good ones out there.
Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. Also post-COVID, I don't get out of my bubble as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 and soon to be 4 of my favorite breweries on earth are closest to my front door
That's
in
awesome.
Long Beach.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky that I don't really need to drive to drink beer because from my front door in Long Beach, I will now have Ism when it opens.
I want to be there for that.
Beechwood, Green Cheek, and Rip.
Yeah.
I mean, those are might be my top 4 favorite breweries. So they're the closest to my front door. So
and honestly,
apologies to all breweries way away from Long Beach.
Yeah.
When you go, why don't you come to our brewery to drink?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I have my 4 favorite breweries on earth, like 10 minutes tops from my front door.
Yeah, and how could you beat that with those 4?
And then I don't have to Uber.
There you go.
I'm safe.
Yep. One thing I always like to ask people too, like especially because you've been in a ton of tap rooms, obviously over the years. Do you have any funny, like either funny or interesting tap room stories or anything that's kind of happened?
Funny taproom stories. The only one that jumps to my mind, I can't tell you.
Okay.
Because it's too risque.
That's it.
But it was at Naja's Beer Bar in Redondo Beach, which is iconic. Do you know Naja's?
I don't think I know. I don't think I've ever been
there.
They're
like 30-some years old.
Oh, awesome.
They're right on the water.
That's cool.
I'll tell you.
You can tell me off air. Yeah, that's all good. Another thing, though, for me, because I mean, we kind of talked about your favorite styles of beer and all that sort of stuff. When you took over Beer Paper, was it like what was that like? I mean, I could only imagine like the weight. I mean, maybe because you'd already been doing it for a little bit, there wasn't that big of a like weight on your shoulders. But I kind of feel like, man, just taking over something like that, and from what it is now. Yeah. What was that part like, taking that part over?
No, I was just very excited by it and very grateful. I give a shout out to Aaron Carroll and Rob Wallace. Yeah. Those were the 2 guys that started Beer Paper, super close friends of mine. I'm very grateful for them. I considered it their baby, but also my baby. So that's how we treated it. And I think that's why they gave it to me. They knew I would treat it with the love and respect that they had for it.
Yeah.
So no, it was just a lucky break for me that they went off and did their own thing, and I got Beer Paper dropped in my lap.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was stressful or anything.
That's awesome. Because you would think there'd be like, at least you would think like there's some kind of pressure.
No. I don't think there was any pressure at all.
That's awesome.
I love beer. I had the relationships. I will say this. This is what I want to say. Like, if people are listening to this, just like brewers come out into their tap room and somebody's drinking their beer and love it, and
Yeah.
that's what's important to them.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same with beer paper. I go to breweries all over greater LA and Orange County.
Yeah.
And when I walk in and I see people reading beer paper,
Yeah.
it almost brings a tear to my eye. That's how much
cool,
it means to me.
And that's
Like,
awesome.
And a lot of times I will buy you a beer. So, by the way, if you're reading beer paper and I walk in, you're probably about to get a free beer.
Oh, there you go.
Because it means everything to me to walk into a brewery,
Yeah.
see a bunch of people reading beer paper. That's what it's all about. It's not about the money.
Yeah.
Same as brewers. It's not about the money. It's about the appreciation for the art of brewing.
Oh,
And
for
in
sure.
my case, the art of writing about the art of brewing.
Yeah.
So it happens all the time that I go into breweries and people will come in. Oh, aren't you beer paper? Oh my God. We look forward
Yeah.
to beer paper every month.
That's
When
awesome.
beer paper comes out, I'm so excited to read the new issue.
Yeah.
I mean, what means more than that?
Oh, yeah.
That's everything.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and even like when I'm for the show, like I'll get DMs sometimes of like, hey man, I listened to this episode and you talked to Kate Drennon, who's like the head of the North America Guild of Beer Writers.
Yeah.
And like being able to talk to her and that specific person reached out to me, was like, hey man, like I didn't even know this was a thing. I was like, yeah, dude, like it's like you can listen to that stuff. And I mean, and it's cool because you make these kind of connections and you make like, when you kind of like when you can sit down and have a conversation, have a beer, you can have that genuine connection. Because I've always equated this show to me sitting in a brewery and talking to like, just so happen to talk to someone across the bar from you.
Yeah.
And then you end up talking for an hour and you become like either friends or it might be the only conversation you ever have. But you can have that one conversation and be like, oh fuck, that guy was cool.
Yeah.
And
No, I agree with you 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Like my favorite moments in the beer world journey
yeah.
is just sitting at a bar next to a guy or a girl who says, oh, this is your paper. I love your paper. I love this beer. You get into a great conversation.
Yeah.
You have a new friend.
100%.
That's the camaraderie of craft beer.
Yeah. I mean, and you can't beat that. I mean,
No.
like you said, like you've seen somebody like my brother, because he likes to design stuff, and I mentioned how he does like can artwork sometimes, but like he loves his artwork. So like in one of his things when we started the show way back when it was Taps and Tailgates, like he made merchandise and stuff like that, and like one of his dreams was like just seeing somebody on the street wearing his shirt or wearing one of his sweaters.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
you can equate it to the same thing, and it's like. It's really cool, like, being able to, like, in this industry. And one thing I love is, I mean, when I reach out to people, like I reached out to you, and we, exchange emails and stuff like that. But the craft beer community is so welcoming, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, they're all willing, even like I would have talked to brewers, they'd be like, yeah, or like people that just started their own brewery or owners. And they're like, yeah, we were looking for like some help on something. So we reached out to so-and-so. And they're like, oh yeah, dude, come down. We'll help you out. And I feel like that's the best part of it. Cause like, there's so many places where like, whether you're writing about beer or you're talking about beer, like, but if in other communities, they're like, say like wine and stuff like that. They're like, oh no, this is our thing.
Yeah.
Don't try to come in on our stuff.
Yeah. No, for sure. I agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there used to be the saying that craft beer is, whatever, 99% asshole free.
Yeah.
We may be down to more like 80%. But,
Yeah.
But we're still way better than most
Oh, for sure.
industries.
Oh yeah, definitely. One thing, because I did do my research a little bit and I read up on you a little bit. Because I also try to always try to make it conversational. I don't always want to make it seem like an interview.
Sure.
But I mean, I did see that you wrote some screenplays, and you sold. You sold three. Was it three screenplays?
Yeah.
So, are you a movie buff, or could you tell us what those screenplays were?
Well, so I grew up in North Carolina. My mom was an English teacher.
Oh, where in North Carolina? Sorry.
I was born in High Point. My mom's from Morehead City. My dad's from Durham.
Okay, and my sister lived in Fayetteville way
Nice.
back when my brother-in-law was stationed out there in the military.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So I've been writing since I was 12 years old.
Okay.
Because my mom was an English teacher. I fell in love with the movies in North Carolina.
Awesome.
So I was like, I'm going to go to LA and be a screenwriter because that's
awesome, though,
smart.
man.
That always works out for people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I moved out here after graduating from Duke University. I was either going to go to Washington, D.C. and be a government guy or L.A. and try to write screenplays.
Yeah.
So I followed my heart over my head.
Awesome.
And I came to L.A. I wrote 9 screenplays over 20 years. I sold 3 of them, or we call it optioning.
Yeah.
Optioning screenplays. They all came very tantalizingly close to making it to the theater and making me a lot of money.
Yeah.
But sadly, none of them quite made it. But yeah, I optioned 3, made a little money, met a lot of, famous people.
That's cool.
In the process, but it didn't quite work out. But the funny part was I moved to LA to be a writer.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be a beer writer.
Yeah.
It turned out to be I'm a beer writer.
Yeah. And it's crazy how that kind of like you end up like something falls in your lap like that. And you don't expect it. And it's just like, but it's about how you pick up that ball. And because you played college basketball, right?
Yeah.
So it's about how you pick up that ball and move it up the floor. Like,
you got to keep fighting along, see what falls in your lap.
That's awesome. And you said you went to Arizona State and played basketball? What position did you play?
Shooting guard.
Okay. And then you transferred back to Duke?
So my famous story on that is my junior year, I was supposed to be the starting shooting guard for Arizona State.
Oh, wow.
A freshman from Los Angeles arrived. His name was Byron Scott.
Oh, shit.
So that was
Showtime.
That was the end of my Arizona State career. Then I transferred to Duke. I would have been a walk-on at Duke and sat on the bench. So at that point, I figured out I wasn't going to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I just focused on academics at Duke and didn't play.
Okay, but you got to go back home to Duke, so I mean that must have been nice to be able to go back.
Also, there was a new coach at Duke.
Coach K.
Yeah, his name was Coach K.
Yeah. Some random guy.
I could have been in Coach K's first team.
Yeah.
But I was so stupid when they told me I was going to sit on the bench. I was like, you're guaranteeing me I'm going to sit on the bench? I think I'll pass.
Yeah.
Who are you, Coach K?
Yeah. What have you done?
What have you done? Nothing yet, but you will be the greatest coach in college history.
Yeah.
Man, it would have been really cool to be on your first team.
That would have been pretty freaking cool. But I mean, obviously everything worked out. I mean, things really worked out well for you. I did want to go back just a smidge. And you said how you fell in love with movies in Durham, like over in North Carolina.
Yeah.
What was the movie because I'm a huge movie buff too. What was the movie that did it for you?
Well, all of them, because I love movies, but the ones that made me say I'm going to drop everything and move to Los Angeles and be a screenwriter were The Deer Hunter.
Okay.
With Robert De Niro and Ordinary People.
Okay.
Because both of those films I saw in a crowded theater, and at the end of the movie, people were so overwhelmed. You could have heard a pin drop.
Wow.
All the way to the cars in the parking lot, I observed nobody's even talking. People are so body slammed by this.
They're movie. So immersed within what the story that they saw. Yeah.
That they're not even talking on the way to the car.
Yeah.
And so I said, like, film to me is the most powerful medium on earth.
100%.
Even more powerful than music, which I also revere music.
Oh, yeah.
Like a great song or a great album will change your life.
Oh, for sure.
But seeing a movie that just punches you in the gut, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. You're in a dark theater with a group of people.
Yeah.
And if it punches you, just go home and curl up in a ball in bed and go to sleep.
Yeah, or it makes you like you said, those people were just like they were processing everything on the way. They were so immersed. They were processing everything on the way to the parking lot to get to their car. And I feel the same way. There are so many like movies out there that like, you know, that kind of get you, or like, because there are, I mean, I feel like a lot of movies now, I mean, there are some good ones, don't get me wrong, but I feel like a lot of movies now, it's about like, oh, everything has to have a happy ending, or it has to have a through line story.
Right.
And like, I mean, my ex now, I watched a movie with Boyhood that Richard Linklater did.
Okay.
Where have you ever seen it?
Was that?
Is when he shot over like 14 years. It was like Ethan Hawke's in it, is like as one of the actors, but he's like the dad. He's not the main character, but he shot it over 14 summers with this one kid. So you actually saw this kid grow up.
Oh, it keeps going.
Yeah, from being a boy until, you know.
Yeah.
And it was like, but there was like my girlfriend at the time, we were watching it, and she was just like, I don't get it. There's nothing happening. There's nothing exciting, but it's just a story about a kid or about a boy growing up and becoming a man when he turns 18 and going out to college.
Yeah.
And all the stuff he had to endure during that time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, but there's certain times when you find movies like that, like you said, that'll just kind of floor you. And it gives you that like, kind of like, damn, like that he put 14 years of work into that movie. And it's like, be willing. And if it's that good, and like, you know, like just be able to appreciate the kind of hard work and dedication it took to do something like that, like you're doing with your paper now. You said 10 years now. Like when you have something like that, you can find that one passion that you are just like, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. You're going to do this. And I commend anybody that is able to have that perseverance and just the willingness, or the determination is what I should say, to be able to continue on and, you know, to do stuff like that. Because movies will do that to you. You know, the loves of your life will do that to you, is what I should say. Because whether, like you said, whether it's music, whether it's movies, whether it's beer, anything, find what you're passionate about and do it. Yeah. Even like Stereo, I don't know, I'm bouncing around a little bit here, but Stereo Brewing, I love it because they always like, Rick is such a nice guy. And he talks about like how much he loves music and how much he's incorporated music into his brewery. Yeah. I like that too, because you can kind of like, when you go to a brewery, you can see what people are passionate about. You can see like, whether it's like, you know, Stereo or like even Humble Sea, like, you know, like into their artwork with the hammerhead shark, because you like, you know, Nick was a surfer. I love finding all those little idiosyncrasies, I guess you could call it, like all the little things you might find in a brewery, and it'll show how much like what those people are actually passionate about. Yeah.
No, for sure, Stereo. I'm a huge Rick fan. But
he's awesome. Yeah,
huge Rick fan. The beers are phenomenal.
Oh yeah, but
he has a very specific vision that's related to the music integrating into the beer. And that's what I call artistic, right?
Yeah.
The music and the beer go together. What's more beautiful than that?
Yeah.
What are the two things you and I probably love most? Beer and music?
We're sitting in the back.
Thank you, Rick at Stereo, for integrating two things we adore.
Oh, yeah. And when I made the reel, when I recorded over there with them, I used Cream, like because we talked about Clapton earlier. Like those little kind of things, like when you talk to somebody or talk to Rick about stuff, like how passionate he is about both of them, even like how they have their how they serve their beers. It's like, it looks like they put it on the little record album with the flights and stuff like that. so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
I love that, man. And like I said, I don't want to keep you too long. But I'm really thankful for this and be able to,
No, this was fun.
yeah, being able to hear your story and, just, and being able to hear how you got to talk with Evan and Ian today was, pretty freaking
I know
awesome.
you appreciate that.
Oh, for sure.
When they were like, Ian told me, like, because I had told him all day long, because I told him at lunch, I said, Ian, you should surprise Mike and just show up to the interview talking about ism. Yeah. And he's like, I got a family, whatever. And when we visited with Evan, I was like, Ian goes, dude, your podcast is in like 20 minutes. And I did not realize that traffic northbound on the 405 is worse than southbound. Yeah. That seems counterintuitive to me. Yeah. I thought I was going to fly up here. I thought I'd be here in like 20 minutes. Yeah. It was worse. It was horrible. I don't know why Orange County people are coming up to LA and Long Beach, but
honestly, even like you being,
but I told him he will know. Yeah. Because what he's doing, he loves this world. Oh, yeah. So when I tell him, dude, I'm sitting with Evan Price and Ian McCall. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm running late.
100%. Yeah, no, I felt the same way. I was like, like when you told me, I was like, I get it. Like, don't even worry about it, bro. I'll see you when you see you when you get here.
I'll see you next week. Let's reschedule.
No, for sure. And like I said, I totally get it, and I would never hold it against you because that's like I said, there's a couple.
No, it was
fucking first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I mean, even in my world, that's pretty rare to be sitting with two guys like that, just listening to them talk about brewing. Yeah. So yeah, it's
rarefied air, man.
It was rarefied air, dude. Yeah. I was just sitting there going, "Is this happening?" I'm just sitting here listening to Evan and Ian talking about beer. That's pretty fucking cool. And that's the world of beer paper. Yep. We're very spoiled. We're very grateful to all the people that read beer paper, of course, and appreciate it. Because, like I said, most breweries I go to, I will see people reading it and being very appreciative. So, we're just honored to communicate that love between brewer and beer fan.
You couldn't have said it any better. And that's why, like I said, I know I've, tooting your horn, but I really appreciate, you being here and you, setting this up for us to be able to record here and being able to talk to Joe. But just keep, I'm going to say keep up the great work. Yeah. I really, truly mean it. Because I love, when I do, I get to see that. Because, Jake usually, my brother Jake, he usually brings me stuff, and thank you. Usually brings me a beer paper, or if I go to Noble and any, hang out with them. Jimmy said he knows you.
Yeah.
Yes, because he's like, oh, you're going, because I even told him, I was like, well, I'm going to be there Wednesday at Brew Kitchen. He was just like, oh, I know the place. Is like, I'm going to show up and surprise you guys. I was like, you're more than welcome.
He should have.
So I'll have to tell him, I'm sure he listens every week. So I'll have to tell him, oh man, you missed out.
Well, shout out to Jimmy. Yeah. You still owe my son baseball lessons.
There you go.
Jimmy's like a badass baseball player.
Oh yeah. And everybody there is so nice. Josh, Jimmy, Josh who does the social media and all the other stuff. And Paul they're all great guys. Yep. They're really good guys.
Yeah, it's a wonderful industry. Mm-hmm. Most of the people are phenomenal human beings. Yeah. Super nice, super down to earth.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. It's about supporting those people and supporting people like Joe here at Brew Kitchen. Like I said, thank you again. Yep. Maybe should we go grab we'll finish this up, or we'll grab another beer, huh?
Let's do one for the road. Yeah.
Thanks so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Daniel. All right, guys, we're back in the tap room. I am your host, Mike, and I have a couple of very special guests on the show today. I have Joe Maggiore
Correct.
from Brew Kitchen Ale House.
Kitchen Ale House, Los Alamitos.
You got it. And I also have the founder of Beer Paper, Daniel Drennon. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Today is a fantastic day, especially to be here talking to you.
Oh, yeah. So, Joe, I did want to ask you before we start talking to Daniel, how did you start this place, or what made you get into or want to open, a craft beer spot like this? Because it's awesome in here.
That's a very intricate question.
Yeah.
For me, it's almost a competitive advantage. I was literally almost born in a pizzeria in New York.
Yeah. I mean, I see your certificates on the wall. That's awesome.
People ask me that question a lot, and it was destined to be. Yeah. I'm, almost third generation restaurateur. I tried to get out of the industry at one point, but it sucked me back in because when you have a passion for a thing, it's not really work. It's just you're fulfilling, you're doing the art of the thing. So,
yeah.
And that's really what keeps me going because, these days it's not an easy task to pull off, craft beer and, artisanally crafted culinary at the level that we pull it off.
Yeah.
And by no means am I saying that like I'm winning any James Beard awards for my craft, culinary expertise. But at the end of the day, we do execute at a higher level than most, beer places that serve food or food places that serve beer.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I concur with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool though, because like when you can hear like in your voice, you can hear the passion in your voice.
Right.
And I love that. Like I feed off of that. Even when I talk to brewers or owners or anything like that, like what it takes, for them to get from one place to like from here to doing what you're doing now. And then like the passion behind that means a ton to me.
I mean, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, why bother?
Yeah.
And I mean, it even says on the back of my business card, like if you're going to do something, do it well.
Yeah.
And that's just, that's kind of like, the standard by which I operate.
That's awesome, man. And congratulations, because it seems like, you got a kick-ass place here.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would add Daniel Drennon, Beer Paper.
Yeah.
I want to echo that in the beer world that we're very spoiled by in California.
Yeah.
Because I like to say California brewing's the best in the history of brewing.
Oh, yeah.
There's no close second.
Yeah.
But you don't always get, like, the beer is so good at some places that you don't get food that measures up to the beer.
Yeah.
And that's a very short list. Brew Kitchen is right at the top of that list. This guy is a badass chef.
That's awesome.
Like, the food is amazing here, and it's something I would call like a hidden gem because it's in Los Alamitos, which most people listening may not know where that is.
Yeah.
So look it up, make a trek down here, because I also like to say there's destination places.
Oh, for sure.
And then there's your local place.
Yeah.
Your local place is great because you can walk to it or bike to it or take your dog to it. But a destination place is that no matter where you live in greater Los Angeles, if you come to Brew Kitchen Ale House, you are not going to be disappointed by the beer list, the cocktail list, or the food list. Like, it's going to be world class. You're going to go home happy.
That's awesome. And that's why we talked a little bit off air about, those kind of hidden gems and finding those places, especially local places, because it's about supporting small business. It's about supporting, like, that's what I love about this show is being able to talk about that and be able to promote that. Because if it brings, a few people in or 100 people in to be able to do something like that and be able to them come over and see it, then they find their, like, almost like their Cheers, I was kind of equated to, because I love that show. But I'm sure you have like your regulars here and stuff like that.
I mean, really, the idea of this place 10 years ago, at that point in the craft beer world, we were still up on the upward trajectory of, although we were beginning to become somewhat saturated, there was still room for growth.
Yeah.
So this business model, was kind of like the shiny object, and a lot of, what I would consider to be not so professional or not so, vetted or vested individuals were kind of jumping on, the bandwagon to try to do this thing.
Yeah.
And like Daniel said, there's a few places out there that really kind of take it to the next level. It was important for me, especially when we started out, that we were beer and wine only. And for me to be able to set myself apart from, the plethora of, hundreds of other places that were kind of opening left and right. What they did is they kind of went for the shiny object. I'm the opposite of the shiny object. What I wanted to do was do something that was going to transcend the trend and at the same time afford me the luxury to practice the art of the thing that I love to do. Right. So I feel that and, tenacity and, quality and consistency has been what has kind of carried us through the thick and thin of everything that we've been through in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And, being the destination place and being in kind of like the small bedroom community has been somewhat of a double-edged sword, like it has afforded me, it's like the Bugs Bunny cartoons where, it's the hare and the tortoise, like the tortoise always wins, like slow and steady always wins.
Of course.
So that's really kind of how I feel here, doing business in a very small, tight-knit community.
Yeah.
There's a massive sense of community. And here community is it's not just a word. It's not just a vacant word. I mean, it represents something, right? Like, there is definitely a purpose for everyone to kind of be in this community. Everyone has their place. So when everyone kind of gets together and they see eye to eye on certain things, some people get, the ale house concept, and some people just kind of don't get the ale house concept.
Yeah.
They're slightly confused by it. And that's where we kind of like step in and, kind of, if they're willing to listen, we'll give them the education that they need to understand. Beer is somewhat of a universal language, but once you start getting into the upper echelon of like the super fancy stuff that nobody can, see or recognize, it's not just your typical, supermarket branding that, everyone's kind of used to, like back in the 80s with the, the Coors Light with the girl and the beach ball and the limousine and the smoke in the background and all that kind of stuff. I thank God that we, and I joke around with people all the time. I say, hey, when you're at the river and it's 120 degrees, you can drink that stuff all day long, and that's fantastic. But there is a time and a place for everything. And what we've really created here is like the third place, the place in between work and home, where it is truly kind of like the Cheers for the local neighborhood.
Yeah.
And, we've been very successful at that. Dealing with a small demographic is the other side of the, the sword where, sure, I would love to be able to have done a little bit more volume or get a little bit more exposure. But the off the beaten path, hidden treasure kind of thing. We own it. That's what we are. So, the more people that we can, have that conversation with that are still interested in having that conversation, I'm more than happy to sit down with and have a conversation just like we're doing right now.
That's awesome, man. And I love, like I said, I love to hear that because you always want to grow, but you also don't want to like lose like, like that familiarity that you have already. And I did want to talk to you because we mentioned it a little bit ago when you talked about the pizza.
Right.
I mean, if you could tell the story about how you did that, that would be pretty awesome.
Well, I got to back it up slightly. The beginning of the conversation where literally my mother was pregnant with me in the pizzeria in New York.
Oh, wow.
My father was like, well, she says, well, I think I have to go to the hospital now. And he's like, well, can you wait? Because I got to make more pizza. And she's like, no, I can't wait. Like,
nope, he's coming now.
I'm going to take a taxi to the hospital. So, I was literally almost born in a pizzeria in New York. So like that process started very, very early on for me, in regards to like learning the artisanal aspect of, making everything from scratch. And, it's a true lineage from, the old country of, Sicily to New York to the West Coast. So, I think, the very first pizza that I ever made for like a paying customer, I was like 10 years old.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So like I made the pizza. And the funniest thing is like, after I made the guy the pizza, he asked me, did you wash your hands? and I think the answer was no.
Wow.
It's probably a good pizza though.
So, I mean, I'm not sure if he actually ate the pizza or not after that, but you live and learn. I mean, I was 10 years old. So, fast forward, 40 some plus odd years, I waited in line for a good 2.5 years to get on the list, to be accepted into the International School of Pizza, which one of the, satellite locations was in San Francisco in North Beach. And, the school in San Francisco was headed by, world famous Tony Gimignani.
Yeah.
So, he's like a 14-time world champion pizzaiolo. He's originally from that area up in, the South, in San Francisco proper, just outside of San Francisco. He and his brother, the story of that is like, it ran very parallel to my own story of like, family coming from Italy and kind of migrating to the West Coast. And then, he and I are approximately the same age. We have children that are about the same age, like his son Gino is about my son Dylan's age. So it was this kind of this weird, like, I should have known this guy for much longer,
Yeah.
thing, as far as my perspective was. And to tell you the truth, I mean, they didn't really teach me anything that I didn't already know about the pizza business. They just really kind of expanded, like the recipe base and the technique of, pre-fermenting dough. Like I was very aware of these things, but, pizza in Italy is very similar to like, Mexican food here in California or, in Mexico for that matter.
Yeah.
Every region has its own version of this thing, right?
Oh, of
So
course.
it's very regional. And, the Sicilians have a tendency to use a little bit more semolina flour, and then they don't pre-ferment. So it's like almost like a same day dough, which has a different texture. It cooks differently in the oven. You use a different oven to bake those, pizzas. So really the main focus of this particular class that, I went there, to be certified in was, American, Italian American, and
Okay.
Detroit and Sicilian. So that was my area of, extreme interest. There's a lot of places that, Neapolitan style pizza, kind of, is still very popular, but it's very technical to do. And it's almost really difficult to train someone else to do it. Like it's got a tradition and, like a lineage that you can't really, you can teach somebody how to make a round object. You just really can't teach them how to make it taste like an Italian can make it taste, right? So, as far as like the New York style pizza, the process that we use now, it's just like a recipe book. They're going to provide you with like the technique, and then you take that recipe and you kind of make it your own.
Of course.
Which is what I've done. And after I went through the 2-week, training course up in San Francisco, I came back down here and literally like I gave myself a demotion. I went from being the owner of the restaurant to being the dough maker. Right. And I've literally made every batch of dough from that day moving forward till today. Right.
Wow.
And as you do that, you develop a true, relationship with the dough. It's very similar to brewing. When they say that, like brewing is basically liquid bread, it's exactly the same thing. You're using essentially the same yeast. The only thing is that the mash-in ratio is much more liquid in brewing as compared to, much more dense in, making pizza or bread or any of those.
Of course.
The hydration ratio is less than 100%, to where when you're brewing, it's much greater than 100%. It's 200 to 300% hydration ratio. So, when you're brewing, it's basically a liquid porridge that you're extracting the sugars to make the wort. And with, pizza making, you're containing all that stuff and you're keeping that within, the gluten structure of the flour, right?
Wow.
So, the idea is to try to get as much hydration into the pizza dough as possible without having it just be kind of like unmanageable.
Yeah.
And Neapolitan style pizza is it's extremely hydrated. It's very hard to work with. It's very sticky. It sticks to everything. New York style pizza is a little bit easier to work with because it's only about a 65 to 70%, 72, 74% hydration ratio.
Yeah.
So what that does is when you put that in the oven, you get what's called oven spring, where it just kind of fluffs up in the first 30 seconds that you throw it in the pizza oven, depending on how hot your pizza oven is.
Yeah.
So I could talk about this stuff for hours. You guys don't really want to hear about pizza. You want to hear about beer. So
It's all good.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it, man.
But that was an incredible experience for me. And again, like here, in the beginning, in the inception of this place, we were written up for top 10 best burger in Orange County. We were written up for the top 10 best wings in Orange County. And hopefully at some point, they'll come back around and secret shop us to be able to, get some notoriety for the pizza program that we've been putting in place for the last year or so.
That's freaking sweet, man.
So that's the story in a nutshell.
Yeah. So let me jump in.
Yeah.
To me, from a beer perspective, what makes this special is this man right here next to me. You're not looking on TV, but he cleans his own lines.
Absolutely.
That's cool,
that's
man.
kind of unheard of in this industry.
Religiously.
Yeah.
People come in all the time and they ask me, they're like, well, does Harbor clean your lines for it? I'm like, absolutely not. I don't even let them close to my beer box.
That's awesome.
So, that is typically the way that, that and the relationships that we built over the last, 20 years in the craft brewing industry, where most of the breweries that we deal, that we do business with, we're what's considered to be a legacy account, right? So we're one of the original we're one of the first starters that was on it, before it became a super popular thing. And they respect me. There's an equal respect out there because I take care of the brands as if they were my own. And, I remember quite a few conversations with different, brewers that would come around, and it was kind of like two dogs sniffing each other's rear ends to see if we were vetted enough to be able to carry their product. Right.
Yeah.
And I would usually tell them, hey, listen, this is what I do. We're dispensing on mixed gas. Everything is a perfect temperature. It's the perfect carbonation rate. We're pouring it into the beer clean glass, and we religiously clean every keg line every time in between every keg change. And that's the biggest difference between, someone like myself, and you have to truly care,
of course,
about the product, and you have to handle the product with care. So, we were really, at a time where nobody really kind of understood those things. We were treating our beer program like a fine dining restaurant would treat a fine wine list.
100%.
We're trying to have an evenly spread breakdown of all the different styles to represent all the different food groups. And there was a lot of places out there that tried to do that for a short period of time, but people, they're looking for the new shiny object constantly. So really it became like, oh, what's your best IPA? IPA, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But there are other beer styles out there.
Of course.
So we try to represent everything equally.
Yeah. I mean, and there's, like you said, there's so many different styles. Anytime I go into a brewery, the first thing I was usually asked for is for their Pilsner.
Right.
Because I feel like you can judge a brewery by if their Pilsner is good, the rest of their stuff's probably pretty good.
There's not much to hide behind when your mash bill is so thin, and you're crafting something that, for lack of a better, analogy, it's like, spaghetti with tomato sauce in the Italian restaurants. Like if you're going into this place and it's like dry pasta with ketchup on top of it, it's total crap.
Yeah.
Right. So like you go into a brewery
100%.
and you order a Pilsner, and if it shines, if the carbonation rate is correct, and it's
got to be crispy,
crisp,
yep,
and it's refreshing to the palate, that you're dealing with somebody who, knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's not just somebody who was, brewing yesterday in their garage and then decided to borrow a bunch of money and open up a brewery, which there was all sorts of, like all different levels of that, during the run up in the market, when it was almost like the real estate business, where everybody decided to become a real estate agent because they were going to get rich quick.
Oh yeah.
And that looks so much more fun than the job that I currently have. You know what I mean? So now that we have a brewery on every corner, I feel that, this is a great time, even though this, I think I read a stat the first time, in 10 years that we've actually had a net reduction, like about a 2% decline in craft beer consumption, which now is a great time, because just like the real estate industry, when all the half-asses get out of the business, we're strictly dealing with guys that are very serious about the craft.
100%.
And you might not be making as much money, but the whole thing about that is that the guys that are really good at what they're doing don't even really care about the money.
Yeah.
Do not care about the money.
Yeah.
They care about the quality of the product.
Yeah. Every brewer I talk to, they say we didn't get into this business to get rich.
Right.
They get into it because they care about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
And
like
they hate their regular job.
Yeah. But that's awesome, man. I really, I know I don't want to keep you too long, but I really appreciate, you allowing us to come down here, record this, and, be able to hear your story too. That's freaking awesome.
For what it's worth. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I love that. I mean, I love being able to hear, because, it's, this show is about the everyman too. It's about, your journey. Like you had your own journey now through craft beer and pizza.
Right.
And, just like Daniel has his, journey as well. So, I mean, I love being able to hear that, because if this show could help one person think like, oh man, well, they did it. Like why, maybe it'll motivate one person to go out there and try to start doing it.
I encourage anybody who has a dream to follow their dream and just be relentless. Just get there by any means necessary. Also, another good piece of advice is be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. Should we grab one more beer before we jump into it? I'll hit pause. You guys, it'll be a little longer for us, but it'll be. All right, guys. Sorry for the abrupt cutoff there. It was just we had grabbed a beer, and then there was a plate, I think, that fell or something like that at the end, so I had to cut it out there. I had also. Oh, this is the outro technically, but I'm going to throw in a bonus beer review real quick, and then I'll come back with the outro.
What's up? My name's Taylor. Just down here at Green Cheek, smashing skeleton wings. So let's crush it.
Yeah. And what's that one called?
Skeleton wings. Very crushable for a double West Coast IPA. Very crushable. John Boy?
What score would you give it?
On a brewski, I'd give that a 9 out of 10.
Nice. Can't go wrong with it. Mike's got pulling levers. It's a New Zealand style pilsner. And if you guys know, like anytime I see anything New Zealand now, I pick it up. And this one, I think it's 5.6. Fucking completely crushable. Get on down to Green Cheek. Like I know, like obviously they're super popular, but if you've never been here, they have 3 locations. Come on down, support, and you will not leave disappointed. They always have food trucks. I think they have a Cuban place here today. Who knows like if they're gonna be back? But they always have like smash burgers, stuff like that. Come down, check it out, and just crush some brewskis. Support small business, baby. All right, guys. Well, yeah, like I said, I just wanted to be able to throw that in there, get Taylor on the show. He was on the intro a little bit with Josh from Noble. Really, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I wanted to tell you guys what I got coming up. So next week's episode is going to be the Big Brian's Meats episode. And I believe that, so that'll be out next Sunday on the 12th. And then the following week, I'm pushing back Nadav's episode by 1 week because I'm going to be doing the Stoutsgiving episode. And that should be with the Buffalo Beer Influencer, Emily, and then also Romeo and Juliet. So that should be a good one. That should be fun. And then Nadav will be the week after that. Next weekend, though, I'm going to be brewing for the first time. So I'm going to go up to Ryan at Big Pot Brewing, my boy up in Clovis. So we're going to hang out. We're going to have, we're going to brew a little bit, going to record some content, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's what I got coming up. And then I'm also going to try to schedule Lahara pretty soon over in Norwalk because it's some great beer there. So looking forward to that. But I'll keep you guys posted. Also, my new show will be available. It's actually technically available now, but I'm going to be releasing episodes on Mondays. So if you want to check that out, it's called the Pick Your Ass Up podcast. So, and it's available right now on Apple, Spotify, and Prime Music. So you can go ahead and check that out if you guys want to. Always appreciate all you guys. I love all you guys and, all the downloads each week. It means a lot. Because I just try to put out some quality stuff for you. Don't forget to support small business. One last thing I just wanted to throw out there to Vero. So we're no longer together, but I'm not trying to bring that up on the show or anything like that. I'm just trying to say, even though things didn't work, like I am super appreciative of all the times that she let me, not let me, but, understood why, that I was doing this and, had an abundance of patience, putting up with me going to breweries every weekend and doing all this sort of stuff. So I just want to say thanks for that. All right. Well, I hope everybody has a great week. Don't forget, like I said, don't forget to support small business. Also I got Pasole Palooza going to be coming up pretty soon. And that's going to be, with OG Chew Your Beer on Instagram. So like I said, have a good one, guys. Take care, Tap Down.